The selection sort is probably the easiest sorting algorithm ever. Every time we just uh, mm, so if we can determine the maximum element of this array, we know where it belongs. The maximum element in this array is 12, and 12 belongs to the rightmost cell of this array. So at each iteration, we run a for loop through this array and find the maximum element, which is 12 in this case, and then we swap the value of 12 with 8. So the array becomes, after one iteration, we find the index of the max element. We actually don't find the max element, we just find the index of the max element and then swap it to the last element. So if we run one iteration, so our last index is 7 and max index is 4. So we swap a4 with a7, then 12 uh, 12 goes to a8 and a4 becomes 8, and the rest of the array doesn't change. So this is after one iteration, and then we know that 12 is where it belongs. So 12 is already sorted, so we can just sort the left array. If we run another for loop, so we find that the maximum value in this array is in the cell with index 1, and the last index is now 5, and max index is 1. So we swap the values of these two positions. So we get 2, 5, 4, 3, 8, 1, 10, and 12. So 10 and 12 have found their places, so they are sorted. So the last index comes to last equals to um, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, the last index was in 6. So this time the last index is at 5, and after one iteration of looking for the max element, we find that the max belongs to max index equals to 4. So we swap the values of these two cells and the array becomes 2, 5, 4, 3, 1, 8, 10, 12. And also notice that this part of the array is sorted. Then we just find the max of this array. So notice that the last element has come to this position, last equals to 4, and the max is at this position. So max index equals to 1. Then we just swap these two cells and we get 2, 1, 4, 3, 5, 8, 10, 12. So this part of the array is sorted. Then we just sort this part, and the last element is last index is 0, 1, 2, 3, and the index of the max element is max index equals to 2. So we swap these two cells and get 2, 1, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, 12. So this part of the array is sorted, and the max last index is here, and this is also the max index. So if we swap 3 with 3, the array doesn't change. this was our last index and this is also our max index. So if we swap 3 with 3, this remains the same. So now this part of the array is sorted. So the last index is this and the max index is this. So we just swap these two and get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, 12. So this way our array is sorted from the smallest number to the largest number. So now if we want to see how we can code this, let's go to the next page. So we write a function int. Since we're going to return an array, this is the return type is an array, integer array, and the function is called selection sort. Then uh, we declare some variables like int max index equals to -1, and so if our array is all positive, then we can take int. Okay, this is initially -1. So let's assume for simplicity that our array has all positive elements. So at first let's assume that the max is -1, and um, so the first for loop will determine the last index. So let's say last index equals to a dot length -1, I greater or equals to 0, I -1, minus minus. So, mm, so there is an inner for loop which runs from 0 to the last index. So if aj is larger than our max, then max becomes aj, and the max index becomes j. So after this for loop, the inner for loop has run, we have found uh, the max for this we have found the max for this inner loop. So uh, every time we should uh, initialize the max to -1 and max. Actually, what we can do is let max be a0 and the max index be 0. So this is more correct. So we so in this case we make no assumption about the range of the values of this array. So so after this for loop, we know the maximum, the index of the maximum element from j to the last index. So okay, I should have written L here, last index. So now we swap the value of the max index with the last index. Int temp holds the value of the max index. So we have swapped the value of the max index with the last index. So the last index is so the maximum value has found its place to the last index. Then we decrement the value of L. So L is decremented, which is the last index. So in this way, the whole array is sorted. Then we just return return A, which is the array. So uh, this is our code for selection sort, and all of you should try writing this code on your computer and run it and see how it works.